How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. In today's episode, I just wanted to, it's going to be kind of casual. I'll tell you a little bit more about this project as we go. But we're doing a whole bunch right now. It's going crazy. There's a lot of stuff happening on the screen. I just want to make sure that I cover what's happening and some of the stages we're going in for this whole thing. And this is going to go right here from a somewhat tight pencil all the way to inks and coloring. I was about to say full coloring, but it's kind of a simple coloring job to match the style. And yeah, okay, so I had a rough layout and I blew it up a little bit. Nothing drastic here. I'm trying to develop a character, trying to develop how this character looks. And there's a lot of things in sketchbooks and stuff. And if you guys have been following me or joining me on the live streams, you guys have seen me do this for the last couple weeks here. But the design for the character, I feel really, I don't want to say feel really good, but I feel pretty good. There's a couple things color-wise that I might want to change, but this might not actually be colored for the comic and stuff. But so I started out with a gesture, blew it up a little bit, tightened it a bit, and then just grabbed my kneadable eraser, or since we're working digital, it would be like an airbrushed eraser. Use that and just went over everything again so you could still kind of see it, and then just started adding in what you've seen so far. And then here I'm just turning it blue, grabbing a pen. I forget which pen it was in Manga Studio 5. It's not the it's the mapping pen. That's what it is. And right here, this is actually something in my workflow that I've been trying to do lately, and things you guys will see coming up, but not really. It's again all behind the scenes stuff. It's all secrets. But I've been looking at a lot of artists that I'm really getting into nowadays, and most of them don't render a lot. It's kind of like clean artwork, but I've tried to do some research to see where they're going, and I used to do this all the time when I would ink traditionally with like microns and pens, where it's trying to get, and actually if you go back to any of my concept art videos that I do talking about developing characters, it's the same sort of thing where I'm trying to find a contour, I'm trying to find a shape that sells that character. And what this method does right here, what I would normally do, or what I've done before as well, is I would just draw a character and then I would add this contour line, that thick black line around it at the end. I'm flipping that on its head and doing that contour first. The main reason for that is I can see, like, the contour is the confining shape that the rest of the detail is going to be a part of, right? But that outline is actually very powerful, and it helps keep things focused. Like, I can see that and see if it's working. I can draw that shape and see, like right there, I can turn layers off and go, maybe some of this, like this, his hand in front of his face is about the same thickness, and it doesn't feel like it's actually in front. So what I can do is thicken that line up. And you can do this in any stage, but right here, like this kind of stuff here, it feels very much like contour work, where I'm just doing the outline and then I'm doing the details inside. Just the stage that I'm at right now, and it feels pretty good. And then I can go in there and just kind of add details. There's not much shadow work going on here. This project here, I'm trying to keep the shadows to a minimum and just have clean artwork. And I'll most likely be doing gray tones, not color. So let's talk a little bit about this project. You guys have seen and heard me talk about projects day in, day out. If you guys have been watching the few videos that I did post about the 100 Days of Comics, it's kind of a challenge and stuff, but I won't get into that. I'm trying to start with simple story ideas, and what ends up happening is, just the way I like to write, I end up fattening it up with stuff that doesn't even matter, and the plots become too big. So what I've done is I grabbed a piece of paper and I just said, you know what, just write stuff that I like. Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, Transformers, Conan the Barbarian, Godzilla's kind of cool, don't mind him, He-Man. And then I started seeing repeating patterns here. I'm a big fan of Power Rangers, especially Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Ninja Turtles especially, those are my two big influences on a lot of, even getting me interested in drawing while I was growing up, the TV shows. So I figured, you know what, I'm just going to do a very simple webcomic. Hopefully it'll get to print sometime, but it's just getting the comic out there right now. So this character here, his name is Spectacular Red, and you're going to see more of his friends coming up. Since it is heavily themed. Oh, Mega Man as well. I'm a big fan of Mega Man, so I want to have the boots in there. There's some other designs I might want to change in here just to give it a little bit more chunkiness to it. But I think actually, yeah, the inks are about done here. I'm going to save it, and we're going to open up in a Photoshop, and hopefully I can kind of talk about what's going on there. But we'll see what's going on. But yeah, so there's going to be 5 characters on the team. And they're all called Spectacular, whatever their color is. So this guy, he's kind of got a diamond shape I put on his chest, and his mask was actually supposed to be a diamond, and it doesn't really look like it. The top part of it's more triangles, right? But you know, I figured you'll see the other characters as I go. If you guys have seen the live stream, I did show 2 other characters, Spectacular Green and Spectacular Blue. You know, I'll be doing one of these for each of them because their designs are different. I don't want to do the total Power Ranger route where it's they're all the same body shape. I want to play with that. The costumes are very similar. The pattern on the front's different. So, like I say, this guy's got a diamond. I believe Spectacular Blue is a circle. He's a big chunky guy. He's got a little bit of weight to him, but he looks pretty fun to draw. Green, I think, was a star, perhaps. I forget. But I'm just using shapes for simple stuff. But I talked about it on the live stream, wanting to write stories that are kind of like the old Jack Kirby, Stan Lee method, the Marvel method, where I kind of give myself just like a paragraph or 2 of what I want to talk about in like let's say a 22-page story, or who knows, since it's webcomics, it can be as long or short as I want, and then just draw as I get to it. Right? It's very free flow, and it takes a lot of pressure off of setting it up. The only real pressure that I have is I want to establish a story, so there's rules still, right? And some concept design for the main characters. And that's all I've really been working on. I've done a couple just things for myself for some stories, but you guys will see all that. We'll get there. I don't want to beef up the video too much about just where this is going, but hopefully you guys kind of enjoy it. I know it's a little different of a style than my traditional over-rendered stuff. Oh, I wanted to talk about that real quick. So a lot of the guys I'm looking at lately, especially Ryan Otley, you guys have heard me talk about him to death. Mike Mignola as well for Hellboy. But you look at these guys' stuff, and there's very little rendering. There's rendering where it can be, but it's funny to think about because for a very long time, like I love a lot of the 90s art. I just grew up in that early 2000s, and everything is like over rendered. I don't want to say over rendered, just rendered, a lot of render lines. And it looks awesome, but it takes so much time. And if I got the time, I'll do it. But for a personal project, I just want to tell stories. And I'm okay with going this route. I think it's fine. There will be parts where I might render it and stuff, but this whole thing here took me, I believe it was like an hour and a half. Which is great because it's kind of an experiment for myself to see how fast I can work in this kind of style. Anyway, going back to what's actually happening. So you guys saw me put in what's called the flats. I put in a bunch of colors that would be where this character is, or like parts of him, so the red helmet and stuff like that. The next thing I'm doing here is I just turned that off, made a new layer, and I like to use a purplish blue. And I turn off the color layer just so I can see just the raw line art, and then I start coloring in where the shadow should be. And then once it's all done, I turn the flats layer back on, and then I go to that shadows layer, just put on multiply, and what it does is it kind of harmonizes all of the shadow together. So you can see on his face, it's kind of like a purplish, but it looks kind of cool on his skin. Even the white bandana, that's got some purple in there, but it looks really cool. At least I like it when you add it, when it's on other colors and stuff. And right now I'm just making another layer for a highlight layer. I could have pushed the highlights a little bit more. I probably should have, because like right here, that hand on the left gets lost a bit in the face and things. However, I mean, I am going to use this thing sort of as like a promotional thing as well, just to get some excitement going, hopefully, and make some noise for this guy and the other 4 members of the team. But that being said, you know, I don't want to spend too much. I don't want to oversell this as being something that it's not going to look like. Like, you'll only see this kind of stuff on covers, right? Or if I sell posters and things like that, if there's even an interest in that. So right here I'm doing bounce light, and I just stopped because that's like another step where it's, okay, let's do another pass at highlights, and then we can do bounce lighting, and it'll make it look real awesome, real rendered and stuff. But again, it's watering down what this is supposed to be and what the point is. You saw me just do like a quick white highlight on the helmet just to show that it's a little bit different of a texture. Now next I'm just looking online right now for a paper texture. I had one on my hard drive, but I couldn't find it and I didn't want to spend the entire video looking for it. So just put it at the bottom. We're going to desaturate it and play around with the lightings and things like that. Then I'm just going to make a stroke around the character, give a white highlight. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll get some more videos soon. Thank you so much. Keep reading comics and keep making comics. We'll talk soon. Bye.